Now, the case involving a man seen on social media taking a selfie with a deceased body has been postponed until November 20th for a possible bail application. The Sibanye-Stillwater mine worker is accused of stabbing and killing his colleague at a hostel. The shocking selfie photo with the deceased went viral on social media over the weekend. Our reporter Hloni Mtimkulu joins us for an update. Hloni, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I heard you speaking to Masego earlier saying that some people have told you a bit about what they believe happened in this incident. Any more details come to light?
Yeah, I mean, generally, I think one of the questions is around the motive and why this would have happened. Of course, he's still an accused, even though there's video footage, of the accused. But what we have heard and what we were told this morning was that there was an issue that arose between the accused and the deceased in June, where the deceased assaulted the accused, and when the accused went to the mining company to report it and to say, this is what has happened to me, he even ended up in hospital, and we've seen a photo of him where his head is covered and his eye is in his left eye is injured actually, and so that has been affected, and we saw this. And he was unhappy that it seems, we were told that he was unhappy with how it was handled, that he basically followed the right procedures in terms of laying a grievance against an employer, a fellow employee rather, and wanting to see out the process. But this guy, the deceased, now continued and stayed employed. And then even after that, he then went to SAPS and reported it to SAPS and expected something else from there. And he was told that this man would be arrested, and he wasn't arrested. And apparently on Thursday, he was meant to then be arrested. And this was meant to be like a number of times that he was meant to be arrested. And that didn't happen. And that seems to be some of the triggering issues around what led him to doing this thing, that they say, and people told us that the system basically failed him because he had tried to follow the right avenues, and then this happened. Why? I mean, first of all, why, he killed this person allegedly, but also the posting it on social media as well. So we don't have information around why that happened. And hopefully we go back on Monday next week. Some of those details as the weeks go on and as the months go on will kind of emerge in terms of how it even ended up on social media, who took that video also as well, and just the details around that. Because, I mean, if it wasn't on social media, we wouldn't have known about it. If there wasn't video evidence of this, we wouldn't have known about it. And this is how it's become a story of national interest now generally.
Absolutely. Well, let's have a look at some of what unfolded during the court proceedings today.
Your Worship, no previous convictions, no pending cases, and no outstanding warrants of arrest, Your Worship.
How long do you need to appoint your attorney?
Re batla o tseba hentate hore o hloka nako e kana kang hore wena he o tlo kgone ho tlisa moemedi wa hao ka mona ka pela lekgotla. Ha re kgutlisetsa molato ona morao o hloka matsatsi a makana kang hore wena he o tlise moemedi wa hao ka pela lekgotla ka monana a tlong ho emela. A kere wena o itse o batla moemedi o tlang ho patala ho tswa dipokotong tsa hao.
Matsatsi a
7 days, Your Worship.
Now, Hloni, of course, on social media, we always have the social media police that will quickly go and find the name and the details and the address of a suspect. But in this case, also now the court has permitted us to name the suspect.
Yeah, so he is a 43-year-old from Matatiele in I think it's now in the Eastern Cape. And his name is Buinehelo Lefefa. The deceased is a Mozambican national. So that's some of the details that we know. We know, for example, that the deceased lost his wife earlier this year. We know that the accused lost his child on the Tuesday before he is alleged to have done what he did. And so there were people again earlier today who were saying that maybe that was also part of what just kind of could have triggered him, that he had this happen, he went and reported that, I'm stressed, this is happening to me, please help me, and maybe he felt he didn't receive the necessary help, and then obviously then wanting this also process to continue or to happen, and it didn't quite happen. So there is a little bit of information that we have gotten about both the deceased and the accused. But again, hopefully next week more of that. And as the weeks continue, we will know a little bit more about all of this generally.
Listening to the direction that the conversations are going, it also seems there will be some psychologists involved in this case. But he's, of course, also a mine worker from Sibanye-Stillwater. Did we get any reaction from them?
Yeah, so both of them did work at Sibanye Stillwater at the Kloof Gold operations. And the mine, there were some things they couldn't confirm. So I'm going to see what I can tell you. So they obviously couldn't tell me. So we asked, has the accused been suspended from work? We don't know that sort of information yet. But they did say that the incident occurred outside one of their residences. They've beefed up security because obviously it is a security issue. The families of both have been informed and they are being provided with counseling. And also that they obviously are deeply shocked by what has happened. So, and while the SAPS investigation is going on, they've also now launched their own internal investigation. But they wouldn't answer to the accusations that have essentially been made about them and their handling of this issue or not issue. There's nothing that they could say confirmed directly about the accusations that have been made. But they said they want the police investigation to be completed, to have the report, and then they'll be able to say a little bit more, if they do, about what the accusations that are thrown their way are saying.
Did we hear a word from the victim's family at this stage?
No, so there was a bit of confusion actually about that because, on the one hand, we were hearing that they weren't there, and on the other hand, we were hearing that there were some people there. We'd heard that possibly some of his family was still underground at the mine. So we weren't quite sure actually who was the deceased family, and not even also the accused family as well, and the sort of the people that were there. I can tell you there was a big interest from like the community around that Western area community and also colleagues as well. So, but we weren't yet able to identify who is with both the accused and also with the deceased as well. Hopefully we'll be able to know a little bit more about that, but not yet. So there was a little bit of confusion, I think, even just from my other media colleagues as well, from what we could try and understand from who was present today generally.
Now, as you speak to the community then in that area, who, as you say, they are really showing a huge interest, do you find that they've also been traumatized by this image, by this incident? What's the community saying?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interest in this case because of what has happened, and I mean, when we were there, there were people still looking at the video, and just sort of commenting on the video. So I think, I don't know if it's trauma necessarily, but there's certainly an interest in it, and just like, how could someone, people were commenting like, how could someone be so brazen and do this thing? And yeah, so I think there's that sort of like shock, I guess, that sort of like amazement, that just trying to process that something this big has happened, and also that it was videoed, that it's also on social media as well.
Thank you so much for keeping an eye on that story for us. I'm sure that you'll bring us the details when he returns for the possible bail application. Thank you very much. That was our reporter Hloni Ntimkulu with the latest on that. It's about 12 minutes.